Hey, everybody, like, share, and subscribe. I say this first because a lot of you won't watch this till the end, and welcome to the show. My guest today is a stand-up comedian. He's a performer, a choreographer at Vancouver International Burlesque Festival, the founder at That Filthy Show. Somebody has to do that, right? Ladies and gentlemen, time to meet David James Roy. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how we all doing?
I don't know. I don't know how the rest of us are doing, but like I've had one of those really crazy days, you know?
Oh, I've had those. I've had many upon many of those.
Yeah. So first of all, let's talk about you being a stand-up comedian. How long have you been doing that?
Oh God. My comedy career can drink in the States. Let's put it that way. I mean, it's old enough that it can drink in the States. I've been doing it for like 2 decades now.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So you're still doing it. That's cool.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's not like, how can I put this? It's not like something you could just turn on and off.
Yeah.
It's part of your life. It's what you do. It's the way you process tragedy, how you process your life. I honestly think I'm going to be like, me and my girlfriend talked about this today. She's like, would you ever retire from comedy? And I'm like, yeah, the day after you put me in the ground. That will be the day I retire from comedy.
Okay. Your camera just went off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a second. It's fickly.
It's been that kind of day, everybody. You know, life is pretty weird. I blame it on either poltergeist or aliens. And I say aliens because sometimes when I turn my TV on, the voices sound like little strange aliens.
Ooh, sorry.
So,
am I back?
No, you're not back. No.
Okay, give me a sec.
I haven't.
My camera's just fickly sometimes.
Okay. It's just a little creative glitch, people.
Yes.
Happens all the time.
Yes, it does.
So while it's looking for it, I'm going to just tell you, a former stand-up comedian at the Laugh Factory in Los Angeles, California. And so that's pretty cool. What am I reading here? I want to find out more about That Filthy Show, of course, because it says here, I'm the guy behind all that filthy you see on stage. Got to find out more about that, right? So yeah, I don't know what's going on with we could pretend it's just audio.
Come on.
Or maybe we might have to start all over.
All right.
Well, I'll read about his education. Studied acting at New Image College of Fine Arts. I have no idea where that is. Went to Gordon Reagan Memorial Secondary School. Oh, there he's back. He's back. Okay.
I'm sorry about that. The more technology we get, the more it can go wrong.
It happens all the time with so many people, including myself. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Right? So we were just talking about, you said you would, you give up comedy, doing stand-up the day after you were put in the ground. Would it have to be that day?
Okay, maybe a week later.
Okay.
So I'll come back and haunt stages.
Oh, now that would be so cool.
Yeah, but as I said, a lot of open mic stages like pro-am nights are haunted because I've seen a lot of comics die there. And what makes me believe in reincarnation is they come back the next week.
Yeah, I've done some stand-up, but then I moved on to improv. Now you would never want to do stand-up again.
Well, it's 2 different beasts, improv and stand-up, because I'll do improv workshops when I feel comedy's getting in a rut. Yeah. And I need like a different perspective on my stand-up. I'll take an improv workshop or whatever. Because I find stand-ups are like bitter old war vets. Yeah. Who are like, you weren't there, man. You don't know what it's like. And like improvers are like Jack Russell Terriers. It's like, come on, give me a subject. Give me a subject. I need subject. I need subject. So it's 2 different beasts.
Yeah. Well, I liked it because I didn't have to remember my jokes. Because I started in my 60s, so it's getting harder. It was getting harder to remember stuff anyway. Yeah. Okay, so now let's talk about you being a performer choreographer at the Vancouver International Burlesque Festival. I don't know anything about that, so that's going to be interesting.
Was it a while back? I performed at Vancouver's International Burlesque Festival, and I've been booking burlesque acts since. I've never coordinated any routines, but I have done routines myself as a boylesque. So there's that.
Right.
Burlesque scene, it's weird. It's because they're all over the world, right? Burlesque is popular, but only in Vancouver have I seen it such a thick culture, like entrenched and competitive, and which is great because the performers challenge each other to up the game. Like if you've done the same routine 5 times or 10 times in a row, like people will get on you going, you got to come up with something different. You got to come up with something new for me to book you. And it's great because I've seen it in Vegas. I've been part of it in Vegas. I've been part of it out here in Toronto. But Vancouver, because it's such a thriving community,
Right.
They hustle, and yeah, it's great.
Keeps you sharp, right?
Oh yeah. And also I wish stand-ups would get this routine down where it's like, you've done the same set for a year, time to try something new.
Yeah, I agree.
Just say it.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree with you. If you want people to come and watch, you have to be different. You have to keep it going. You have to, right?
Drive, yeah. Keep it fresh. Like me, I will go back to some old routines and refresh them.
Right.
But I will not pick one set that I'm constantly doing or I get bored. So I could imagine if someone's seen me like 2 or 3 times, they're like, yeah, I know the next joke. Yeah, I know what's coming next. Yeah. So yeah, I got to keep it real for me and the audience.
For sure, yeah. Well, I see behind you. Yeah, I see the poster behind you. That Filthy Show. So what is that about?
Okay, that Filthy Show was created in 2013. It was going to be a webcam interviewing burlesque performers and stuff like that. But back in 2013, we didn't have the technology we have now.
Okay.
So I started doing like live shows, and it'd be like comics, live musician, like person with guitar, musicians, acoustic musicians, and then like a burlesque performer, break, a headlining comic, a music or burlesque act, and like a punk band. And all through East Hastings, I do these shows, and it grew. And then because of some family issues, I had to move to Hamilton and take care of my dad. And so I had to stop doing the shows in Vancouver, and I'm beginning to do them here. But during the pandemic and lockdowns, I started a live stream show.
Okay. Where
I've interviewed comics, bands, porn stars, burlesque performers, anybody who wants to talk.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's going still strong. I might start season 5 very soon, but I'm debating if it's going to be like a live sit down with the person or like this streaming.
Yeah.
Again.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the beauty of this is you can talk to anybody no matter where they are, right?
Bingo.
Yeah. One of the things I was wondering about, like as a comedian, how do you feel about the new younger comedians? Like a lot of them, I go down and I just think, why are they talking about, the women are all talking about their babies or their vaginas or something, and the guys are all swearing.
All right. Since we're talking about younger comics and like talking about their genitals, no pun intended. Yes, it is. It's low hanging fruit. It's low hanging fruit. Again, because a lot of comics here in Hamilton, where I'm based out of now, and in Vancouver, I found, well, they're young, right? And they don't have a lot of life experience to draw on. So they go to like what is easy and what, like there's one comic here, Ahmad, who is awesome. I love him. He's like dear friend, but he's in his 20s. So I'm more like a big brother. I'm going to go with big brother, not daddy, big brother. Yeah. Big brother kind of role model to him.
Right.
Comedy. And, he's Palestinian living in Canada. So he goes, the Palestinian, Muslim, living in Canada jokes, which again, if he's on stage with any other Arab comic, it's almost the same set. So I keep telling him, let's get to know you. Like you've been doing it for 2 years now. You've gotten comfortable on stage. What are your personal thoughts? Not your generic identity, like, race theory identity. Talk to me about you. What's your personal opinions? And so far what we've come up with, because he's very stocky, short, stocky, kind of like me, short and stocky, bearded, and everyone's like thinks he's so angry. But he's like the cutest little teddy bear. He's like the sweetest guy in the world. Like he's just, once you get past that, just kind of. So I was telling him, you should do jokes about that.
Yeah.
Like come on stage, first minute, be this angry guy that's talking about nice things. Like, hello, how is your day going? Mine is fine. I love today. I love the sunshine. And then break that stereotype.
Right.
Younger comics, I mean, we were all young once. I think I was. I've seen videos of me being young, but we're all younger comics once. We're trying it out. We went with what we know.
Yeah.
And so they don't know anything. If they really want stage time, get a drug habit. In AA and NA, they give you stage time. get an addiction. Don't get an addiction. But yeah, like
yeah.
And the good. It's just younger comics. Some younger comics are like, let's just say, a wave of comics that have happened in the past decade.
Right.
We all know what we're talking about. Who are politically woke and think every other comic who doesn't agree with them should be shut down or canceled. And then all you have left is woke rooms. And then all you have is people not coming to comedy. Nobody wants to come comedy to preach that.
Yeah.
So I preach a little, but I make it funny.
Yeah.
I make it funny first, and then there's like, oh shit, we actually learned something. Oh, sorry for swearing. It's like, oh, we laughed and we learned something. Oh,
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because it's like they don't know their audience either.
No, well, they I shouldn't say they, because it's really kind of some people assume they're there to change the audience, right? And if they're in a room that all agrees with them, they're there to pander to the audience. Every comic, first thing you got to do is learn your audience.
Yeah.
And my audience turns out to be bikers. I make 1% motorcycle club enthusiasts giggle. I make bikers giggle. I mean, big burly guys like, dude, that's funny. And like back in Vancouver, it was the punk scene. It was this edgy, hardcore, younger punk audience that got me. Like, I'm not going to go in a room full of like colored hair, round glasses, comfortable shoes, strong opinions about me. They're not my audience. Yeah. So I know who I'm working with.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of interesting. I have a friend, she's in her 80s. She was Canada's first female comedian way back in the day.
Yeah.
And when you listen to her perform, like, she's good. She's so,
yeah.
It's pretty awesome. And then the young people come on and it's like, well, there's no comparison. Well,
the thing is also, because it's like, is she a female comic or is she a comic who's a female?
Yes.
Right? Like, is it, because again, back when she started, as you said, she's the first trailblazer.
Yeah.
She had to be twice as good just to be considered equal.
Absolutely.
And it's a shame. And I'm happy we've come so far that it's like, your gender, your race, whatever, doesn't matter. Are you funny?
Yes.
Right? And she had to prove she was funny, like twice as much.
That's right. Yeah.
And so other comics don't have that struggle.
Right.
They don't understand. They just assume I walk on stage, I get a spot because I'm a female comic. It's like, yeah, but are you funny? Are you challenging yourself? Are you being creative? Are you standing out? Or are you just going to go on stage and bash every other male comic?
Yeah.
So
that's boring.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, I mean, I have a handful of like I don't book female comics. but I book a lot of comics that are female.
Right.
And they don't, they're not the token. They're not. I mean, my audience will chew you. If you're not strong enough, they'll chew you up and spit you out. You got to bring the heat. And so, yeah, well, it's punk rooms and bikers. So it's like, you got to bring the heat. You got to know.
Oh my God, that would be interesting.
Yeah, like, it's not like, hey, we're going to heckle. Hey, dodge this beer bottle kind of audiences. So, yeah, you got to be like, and I have a few comics that are female that stand up and are solid.
Good.
And they're my go-tos.
Yeah. So what do you're up there, you're on stage and you're doing your little bit and you can hear people talking.
Oh, well, yeah, but give me a sec. I got to reach for my coffee. This dysfunctional debauchery is brought to you by Tim Hortons Cold Brew. Me without my coffee is not a happy day.
Oh no.
So yeah. Okay. So what was the question again? It was,
sometimes people are rude.
Oh yeah, and they're talking.
They're talking during your performance,
Again, opening up for punk bands and all that, I'm kind of used to it. I just got to shut them up.
Yeah.
Like I get on stage, like, okay, punk shows when I'm hosting, like open up for bands and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a hostage negotiation that has completely gone wrong. And now my job is to get them to shut up and listen. And then I can get them to laugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got to be like, I get on stage and I'm talking like, not just some dinky little stage, usually a big stage with, guitars and amps and drum kit behind me and be like, hey, blah, 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 blah. Pay attention to me. All right, we're going to start the show. And then they'll a couple of profanities and some other things will be directed at me. Don't take it personally.
Yeah.
And then I, just shoot them down. And then other people are like, oh, wait a minute. This guy's actually pretty good. And then go from there. So talking in a club. It is rude when you're at a comedy club. Like you paid to be there. You knew there was comedy. Yeah, other people are like, shut up, and then, but at the punk shows, some did come to see me, but I granted, swallow the head a little bit, they're not there to see me.
Yeah. Right.
I'm just this annoying thing they have to get through before the band shows up.
But they can at least talk quiet.
Yeah, so it's like, I can't go, all right, shut up, talk to me. It's like, okay, guys, we're starting. Shoot down heckler, start getting into material. And then once I get them warmed up, all right, you guys ready for the bands? And there we go.
All right. Sounds good then. Yeah.
So I got to give it with a grain of salt because I do bar shows and stuff.
Right.
Especially when open mics have like, hey, a bar
that
no one knew was comedy. And it's like, hey, all of a sudden there's comedy. And people are like, oh,
that's
we'll
not
pay our tab now. We're out of here now.
Yeah, that's not why they were there.
Yeah, so you got to give and take. But if it's at a comedy club and some person's trying to make it all about them, talking in the front row, being not, oh, hey, do you want a drink? It's more like, la, 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 I'm important. And, oh, hecklers. My rules of heckling. Rule number, okay, first, if someone talks out loud, let it slide. Just let it slide. They might have just used their out of thought, out of head voice. Mm-hmm. Second heckle, shoot down and then shut them up. Right. Third heckle, you've now become my act.
Right.
And I ask permission from the audience. It's like, should I continue or tear Sunshine a new one?
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, Sunshine gets a new one. So I'm like, hello, individual. Since you obviously want to be it all about you, let's get to talk to you. And then I just tear them apart.
Oh, cool.
But first heckle, somebody be talking out loud.
Yeah.
You get that. I've got in the back room, somebody, a heckle was, oh my God, he's so funny. She just talked out loud. She just, and again, I can't take that as a heckle because it was a compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't really be like, shut up in the back. It's like, please, in the back, a little louder. Come on, tell me how great I am. I need this so I don't go home and cry. Come on, tell me.
So changing the subject a little bit. So do you mentor other comedians?
Huh? Do I mentor other comedians?
Yeah.
Yes and no. Like, yes, like comics, younger comics do ask me questions because I'm a different breed of comedian. Besides doing stand-up, I do story slams and poetry slams.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, lets me get the darkness out. I gotta get the darkness that's within out. So poetry is best for that. And my poetry is very dark. And so they ask me questions, and the most valuable question, like advice I would ever give to a younger comic or any comic, don't listen to other comics. And that includes me. Take it with a grain of salt, right? Like, make sure they're giving you proper advice, not just tearing you down.
Right. Yeah.
And the other advice I get is get out of your comfort zone as much as possible. If you're doing a certain club and you're doing great at that club, that's great.
Yeah.
Go out to open up for a band. Go out and do another club or an audience you're not used to.
Right.
And that way it makes you a stronger comic.
Right.
Or performer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. When you were growing up, were there comics that you really enjoyed?
Yes. Well, okay. I grew up in the 80s. I'm old. And so, like, there was Sam Kinison, Andrew Dice Clay, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, those, right? Yeah. As more I got into comedy and the more I got into myself, my list of icons, people would have to Google. Like, people I would like to pattern my life after, people would have to Google. Okay. Like Lenny Bruce, right? Who was a great comic, who took us from, slapstick vaudeville to like talking about ourselves. Dick Gregory, Martin Luther King's right-hand man in Chicago, who used comedy to fight for the civil rights, right? He was awesome. Gil Scott-Heron, who is a poet from the 70s, and he was the guy who sang the song, "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised." Okay. He sang that. He was funny in between, but he's a great, like, rare groove blues soul performer, but did comedy in between his songs and wrote poetry. So I was like, all right. And the last but not least, and a man I truly, truly love, Henry Rollins, the lead singer of Black Flag, when he does his spoken word tours, because he's funny, but he can also be very, very serious. Like, it's not like he's led a life, and you just look at him like, wow, that guy's like 2-hour conversation of him on stage just goes by, and people are like, that was 2 hours. Yeah. Wow, because he's engaged and like just you're entranced by what he has to say. So yeah, I don't follow, like, because talking to younger comics now, it's like, oh, my inspiration. Well, I like Bill Burr. Nothing against Bill Burr. Cool. I like Dave Chappelle. Nothing against Dave Chappelle. Cool. But what are they saying to you? Or are you just repeating what another comic said? Right. Who are your personal icons? It doesn't have to be comics. People that have changed the world. Yeah. I'm trying to change the world one giggle at a time. Not doing so well, but I'm trying.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Speaking of that, I went to one of those giggle dam. What's that called? One of those dinner.
Oh yeah, giggle dam.
Yeah. The problem with when I was there, they sounded like they'd done this show so often that it was not funny.
They're just phoning it in.
Yeah, it was so rehearsed, and it's like, no, that's what you shouldn't be doing that, But yeah. It is what it is, right?
It is what it is.
At least I got to eat out of it, so that's all right.
Yeah. See, okay, so I did like a dinner theater show once, and they put me on while they were like bringing out the entrees. So half my set was just, yeah. And like people almost ready to choke. So I'm like, okay, Let's ease up on the laughter. If anyone's choking, raise your hand, because it's so dangerous to have comedy and food.
When somebody's eating, yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh.
You know, you got to watch your punchlines, or you might kill someone.
There's nothing, no, like I know, having been on stage, and I know that anybody who's been on stage, no matter what you're doing, there's something so special, right? When you can engage that audience.
Yes.
And so for so many people, COVID made it so difficult. So how did you cope during COVID?
Honestly, the podcast, starting up That Filthy Show live stream.
Okay.
I had 4 seasons out of it. That helped me out a lot. It kept me mentally connected to people, and made it feel like, yeah, I'm doing something with my life, but not leaving my apartment. And the other thing is I took a hostage. I have a girlfriend now, which, I mean, I know for stand-ups to have girlfriends, weird. But, you know, we dated in high school, and then, you know, the pandemic, we've been talking over the decades, like we've known each other 30 years.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like we dated in high school, 30 years. And then through the pandemic, it was kind of like, I got 2 cats. Like I'm a dog person that now owns 2 cats because my neighbor's cat had a litter and he had to get rid of the last 2. And I was like, oh, okay, take one. And he gives me the 2 and goes, all right, in 2 weeks or a few weeks, pick one. Oh. So now I have 2 cats. He was like, well, they're kind of a duo now.
Yeah.
Named Trouble and Chaos are my cats' names. And I have a girlfriend. And so those 3 and the live stream kept me going. Right. But through the pandemic, I also had some health issues that made it really hard. Was I'm a diabetic, and I lost some toes.
You did? Oh,
I know. And I got, again, if it wasn't for the pandemic and the stressed out health conditions,
yes,
we would have caught it in time and I would have been okay.
Yeah. But
because of the restrictions, I went to a walk-in clinic and they gave me the worst advice ever, which cost me my toe.
Oh, wow.
It's, but again, I'm not bitter. No, not at all. I just gave me 5 minutes of new material from it. So I'm not bitter about that part. I'm just bitter sometimes when I have to pick up something and be like, oh, I forgot, I don't have toes.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, we're almost running out of time here, but I just want to know, when you started out way back, like, well, how did your family feel about it?
I'll tell you one joke I say. My mom doesn't tell people I'm a comic. She tells people I still sell drugs. Because apparently that's a legitimate profession in Toronto. And ask our mayor. But Rob Ford, but again,
I know. Yeah.
For all the hours of entertainment you gave us, Rob, rest in peace. But yeah, they are happy. The poverty part, no. I mean, in the beginning, they're like, okay, whatever, it's a cute little hobby. Yeah. And again, for me, in the beginning and today, it's a purpose, it's a drive. And they're just happy I'm not getting into trouble. Because the problem is when I get bored, I get into trouble. I create trouble. Chaos is created. I'm like, when I get bored. So comedy keeps me out of being a bad individual. So
we're going to end it there. Because like I said, I just got a notice went up on the screen that Zoom says I'm running out of time. So just stay on camera for a second. Just thank you, everybody. That's you've been listening to David James Roy, and
actually it's David DJ Roy. Don't worry.
So that's what the double D was. That's what I figured out. Okay.
Well, yeah, it's David DJ Roy, because you go to school with the name David, you're getting initials. Okay. Well, where did you go here? I just have you here, and I just lost you. I was talking about the Vancouver Burlesque Festival. Oh. All right. So I'm just checking because, what I read was what it says here. Yeah. I know. That's my bad. And that's my Facebook. Feel free to stalk me. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for watching the show. I hope you keep watching, and you can, I'll give you some information so you could watch David.
And remember to be nice and be cool, and peace out, everyone.
Peace out.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.